Mr. Redding, what exactly is the U-strip?
The U-strip, short for ultrasonic strip, is a new drug delivery device which delivers primarily insulin but many other compounds through the skin using ultrasound. In particular, the system has three components: a new form of transdermal patch, a vibrating element we call a transducer, and a dose control mechanism. The U-strip is a small wearable system that goes with the patient and delivers the drug non-invasively, no needles.
People have nicotine patches, for example. What do you need the ultrasound for?
Most drugs are too large to go through your skin. The nicotine patch, the nitroglycerin patch, motion sickness patch, new birth control patch, those are drugs which have low molecular weight. Anything above 500 molecular weight requires something else to get it through the skin. Insulin is around 6,000 molecular weight, and some of the new genetically engineered drugs are as large as 200,000 molecular weight. The ultrasound is intended to essentially expand the pores of your skin, your sweat pores and the pores surrounding your hair follicles. Essentially, we make the hole a little bit larger and allow the drugs to fall in, and they get deposited into the skin surface, and from there they leach into your bloodstream.
Is that safe if ultrasound is working on my skin in a way that it opens the pores? Doesn't it have any other effects?
Traditional ultrasound would burn your skin or burn the drug. We use 20 kilohertz, very low frequency, and the best way to think of it is we're 1/5 the power of a sonic toothbrush. We have enough power to open the pores, but not enough to damage the drug, burn or discolor the skin. In fact, most patients can't even feel the device when it's activated.
How far did you get with the development of that system by now?
The U-strip system, we initially picked insulin as our model to start with, and we are already in human trials, having completed our very first human pilot trial. We are planning to do additional clinical trials later this year with a very large definitive study on as many as 250 diabetics, hopefully toward the end of next year.
Some of my friends do have diabetes. I see them giving themselves shots into usually their leg. I don't see why they would want to have a system on their arm permanently all the time if they can just do it with, a shot a day.
Our market studies conducted at Johns Hopkins University showed that if you took one injection a day, you might not be inclined to take a patch or wear any type of device. But most type 1 diabetics use 3 to 5 injections a day, usually in their abdomen, sometimes in their arm, sometimes on their calf. They may also have additional injections a day depending upon what meal they're having. So it could be quite bothersome to that particular diabetic. Anyone who had more than one injection a day or was inclined to use an insulin pump was very much inclined to switch over to a patch system.
An insulin pump, is that something you have attached to yourself all the time, and you have an open door to your body all the time? Does that work with a syringe?
A insulin pump, and there are a number of manufacturers, but it's a device about the size of a pager. It's usually worn on your belt. It has a tube and a catheter which sticks right in your abdomen.
All the time?
All the time.
It's all the time open?
Permanently installed catheter port. And they're usually one on the right side of your abdomen and one on the left side. Usually every 2 days you have to disconnect and switch to the other side, increasing the chance of getting infection.
I see.
With the U-strip, the main advantage of the U-strip is we can regulate the insulin dosage the same as the pump, but we're non-invasive. No needles, no pain. Also, another problem with the insulin pump is because of its placement, you could often move up against furniture, or let's say you're riding a bicycle, you could very easily damage that catheter port, and that happens quite a bit.
So you use patches. I put that on my arm. How often do I have to replace that patch?
We originally designed the patch to last 3 to 4 days. The FDA in the United States has requested that we first come out with a single day application. In other words, a 24-hour patch. We are basically constrained by what the FDA initially allows us to come out with and the durability of the drug we're trying to deliver. We chose insulin because only small dose was required, and also because of the molecular size, but also it's a very large market both in the United States and in Europe,
How big is the market for that patch? How many people have diabetes and may want to use that?
Worldwide, the total diabetic population is about 145 million. In the United States, it's about 18 million currently, and growing by about 1 million new diagnosed diabetics per year. In Europe...
But not all of those 18 million have to have a pump all the time. Some of them just use a shot a day.
Diabetic sufferers fall into two categories. Type 1 diabetics are people who have no insulin production in their body, and they need outside insulin to survive. A type 2 diabetic has some insulin production, may need an insulin booster, or they may need pills which help their body use what little bit of insulin they do produce more effectively. 90% of all diabetics are type 2. In time, a lot of those type 2s eventually switch over and become type 1 diabetics as they age. So the population is growing. We estimate the market for the U-strip to be all of the type 1s and about 25% of the type 2 population. In the United States, that's about 4 million potential users. In Europe, it's close to 12 million potential users.
It works with batteries. How often do I have to replace them?
The battery is rechargeable, and it lasts for 55 straight hours if the device was on constantly. Basically, we're recommending switching the battery every day with an alternate charge battery. But battery power does not seem to be a problem.
Can you use that system for other medication than insulin?
Yes. Currently, we've tested 8 other drugs besides insulin, but mathematically, we have modeled about 175 other drug formulations. Everything from cancer drugs to cardiac medications, hypertension drugs. We even have cocktails of drugs under investigation. For example, the AIDS cocktail, HIV cocktail. You may take as many as 12 pills a day to make that effective. We might be able to put all that into one patch and not have to remember when to take your next dose. Improved compliance is a major issue for the U-strip. If you have the patch, you don't have to remember to take your next pill. A lot of neat features in the U-strip system.
But does the U-strip system control the dose as perfectly as me taking the pill at a certain time of the day?
Yes, the U-strip has a dose controller mechanism which can microdose the patient, or could put in basically the same dose as you might take in a injection form or as a oral pill form. The U-strip also monitors the dose, stores the information in memory for 60 days, and then downloads a report on the dose, called a dose report, to the physician. The physician actually gets a report of what has been dosed to the patient for the last 2 months. That way the physician can customize the drug delivery regimen for that individual patient.
Could you run down the major features of the U-strip again for me?
Well, for me, the major feature, I think the number one feature is it's non-invasive. You just put it on and you don't have to worry about it. Secondarily, the ability to control the dose. The unit is designed to interact with the new field of biosensors. It could, for example, receive a radio signal from a sensor in the body or attached to the body, which would tell when the dose has to be delivered. That's called a closed-loop system. For diabetics, it means that we might measure the glucose level and then automatically deliver the insulin necessary to alleviate that problem. I think the other features have to do with the dose reporting system. That's a unique feature. No other drug delivery system has that. It enables a physician to really customize a regimen rather than just do something that's general or standard. Those are the main features, I think, to the system.
What does the U-strip consist of?
Well, the U-strip consists of 3 main elements. A brand new form of transdermal patch. I'm holding one here. You can see there is an absorbent pad. This is a material very much like a diaper material which absorbs the drug, and there is a transducer or vibrating element on the back side of the patch. It pushes the drug from the pad onto your skin, opens your pores, and pushes it through your pores into your bloodstream. It's a very unusual design patch. It is powered by a controller device. And this is the unit we're using for human trials. It's a little bit larger, but you might notice it has this one in particular was designed for insulin delivery. It has a basal or continuous delivery method and has a bolus for mealtime delivery. It also on the side has a modem where it can download information about the dose to the physician. Now this unit is kind of large right now, but it's used for the human clinical trial, so we can make adjustments. The final system is about the size of a large calculator. You can sort of see the size of it. This particular one has an armband designed to be placed on your arm. It can also be mounted on your waist. And this is the controller which activates the patch and tells it when to deliver the particular insulin dose.